Oh, it's looking in fine. It's looking in fine form, isn't it?
It's your home ground, Phil.
It'll be
20
fine.
years, man and boy. I played here, mate. 20 years.
What are you doing to one of your stands down the bottom?
I'm not sure what they're doing.
The revat is 2 years.
Oh, Piers!
Piers, how are you?
Wonderfully. Next
Nice
to
to see you. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Next to my great pal.
You okay?
You two okay?
See you.
I've really come to see him.
Really?
So do you want to swap or we?
No, you're all right.
Okay.
No, this is
you two
the
bang on.
this is
Yeah.
the bonding session.
It is. Yeah.
It's the one we should have all had together in 2013-14. Should have all come together around a table like this, eaten some croissants, put it all behind us.
Oh well.
You get it.
It's a while ago, isn't
You're
it?
back together now, though, aren't you?
Huh?
You two are back together now.
Well, we were never actually. We don't actually know each other, do we?
I don't think we've ever met.
No, I don't think we have.
Genuinely.
It's the first time.
I don't think we
Genuinely,
have.
don't think-
I don't think we've ever met. No.
I do remember though when this is years ago, I was kind of like nominated for sports personality, or like got to the top 20 or something. And he did-
For what?
Sports personality.
Oh, what?
Like, and actually you did a piece for me, like quite a
did.
nice piece
I
after
did.
10, 11.
And I got-
Anyway, our friendship after turn 13 wasn't quite the same.
Well, I got no gratitude for helping you out on that.
Well, did you win?
Then,
no, exactly. I came 10th out of 10.
well, the problem was the personality bit.
Welcome to Stick to Cricket, brought to you by Betfair, and today's shows we're here at Lord's, the home of cricket. You could argue the greatest cricket ground in the world. Enjoy the show.
I was very against you personally without knowing you. And when I look back at some of the things I tweeted about you, I did go over the top. So I will take this opportunity.
Is this the
I'm
first time you've ever apologised?
Get
Oh,
tissue,
I'm sorry for the
Kate.
38th weasel.
Ronaldo or our late, great Shane Warne?
Cricket is my first and biggest love.
He watches this, does Cristiano?
He will.
Donald was in town.
He said, Piers, you're arrogant, you're possibly evil, I don't know, he said, but you beat the hell out of everybody. Tuffer stands to attention and says, Madam, I am Philip Tufnell, Middlesex and England. And she said, well, I'm very pleased for you, but now go back downstairs.
I don't think I ever thought I'd do it. I actually agree with Piers on this one.
Well, there we go, Cookie. You won't win many friends playing like this, Mr. Jardine. To which Jardine turned to me and said, I haven't come here to make friends, I've come here to win the Ashes. Bring that on home!
Can I just read a couple of your tweets from back? Just let's get the elephant out the room, right?
Get
So
on
you
with it.
tweeted, farewell, Alastair Cook. I presume this was when
That's
you
nice. That's a
yeah.
nice way to
Exactly.
But you carried
Be more
on.
generous spirited.
Please, you carry on. You put, I'll be honest, I can't forgive him for wrecking KP's England career.
That was shocking, that.
Yeah?
And then you put, he bored me to tears as a batsman, has barely scored an important test run for years, and it's weird that he never sweats.
That is weird. That is weird.
But he gave his all for England and played many invaluable innings.
Well, there you go.
There,
Sorry, but given the history,
balance.
I thought that was a pretty balanced
Balance.
and generous tribute.
Always
balance
balanced.
there.
I mean, you agree because you said you'd watch me behind curtains.
I said if you were playing cricket outside our house, I'd shut the curtain.
So I'm amongst friends here, aren't I? I mean, it's-
Cookie, you're my hero. David,
I would actually, I mean, just to be serious, I used to be really pleased when you were batting because it meant we got more time in the birthday coat.
well, that's a fact, Piers. I know you like the Bazballers. I've said recently, this Bazball team need a Cook or a boycott.
I don't disagree.
No.
If we could have a Cook and a boycott, just to
A
go
bit
block,
of-
block,
bit of
block, to
glue.
allow the firecrackers to crack.
There's no glue, I agree.
Yeah,
I actually agree with that.
yeah.
I mean, this is great to have him there where Jeffrey was.
Yeah.
Jeffrey was there.
I watched it.
He was great.
I
he
loved
was
it.
in great form.
Also, he was immaculately attired. Old school.
Where's your tie?
Old school. Well, I did feel a bit. I felt bad actually, but I'm a YouTuber now, so. No, he was great, Jeff. I mean, I've got to know him over the years, and what a fascinating man he is in so many ways, isn't he?
Yeah.
I just thought it was an enthralling conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
he's
commentator
sharp.
as well.
He's
So
still
sharp.
He knows his cricket.
And he knows his football. He knows about
Yeah.
the centre
Hey,
forward.
what about your team?
Gooners are
They're a
doing
bit
all right.
defensive, aren't they?
Look,
right.
don't you worry about us.
No.
It's a slow-moving express train. Once Jokeres gets fed the ball, You watch. Oh, I've seen enough of him already. I know.
You're making the same mistakes.
No.
You go to Anfield and you're dull.
No. It's a mental attitude. Arteta has a problem.
Didn't have a go at Anfield.
No, I agree. He needs to take the handbrake off. Yeah. Once he does that, I'm sure he will. Once he does that, and we feed Gyökeres, you watch.
Are the Arsenal
3 best wingers in the Premier League.
He's a good
Madueke, Eze, and Saka. They've got them all.
So September. This show might come out in October. What month do you think it'll be when you start hashtagging Arteta out?
We've had a very tough spot. No.
Because you were a White Wenger out, weren't you?
I actually wasn't Arteta out for a while. Then I had to write a piece in the Sun called headline, Dear Mikel, I'm so sorry. No, it's a big season for Arteta. I mean, he's spent a fortune. We've got some great players. I love all the signings are great, actually. But he's got to click and he's got to be more aggressive. You go to somewhere like Anfield, you play City, they were both there for the taking and we were too defensive. And from the lineup, too defensive. Got to take the handbrake off, Mikel. You've got attacking flair. Unleash the dogs.
Yeah. Are Arsenal playing a little bit like Sir Alastair Cook?
A little bit within themselves.
You just nicked his line. That was your line.
To be fair, that's very unfair. That is very unfair on the Arsenal team because they have at least 4 shots.
Did they against City?
I'm not sure they did actually.
Dave, have you got any gifts?
No, it's my little boy's birthday today. Little Jack's birthday.
Is it?
So I've got to mention his birthday. And he's actually a gunner.
Is he?
Yeah,
why is he a gunner? Why isn't he Luton?
We are, but he came
What do you mean
home,
we are?
The family are.
Right.
As in, like, I am, the kids are. And then he came home one day, very proudly, in an Arsenal shirt. Good lad. 3 months ago. Literally, and he has not taken it off.
Was that an awkward conversation to be had?
Yeah.
Well, I just say to him, why...
Have won 2 cups.
When was the last trophy Arsenal won?
Yeah, when
I asked him why he's
FA Cup in his first season.
That was what, 4 or 5 years
Well,
ago?
United.
Yeah, and I don't care about the FA Cup.
In that
So United have won more trophies than Arsenal in the last few
Mate,
years.
United are an absolute basket case. Even you know that. So if I were you, I'd just pipe down about football.
Well, Jeffrey gave
the
Ruben
big boys get on with it.
Jeffrey gave Ruben Amorim
Spine.
a very
All
strong
about the
tip.
spine.
Yeah.
Spine.
He did.
Get some better players to come up with it.
They're not good enough.
Put your glasses on.
Oh, he's got gifts for Piers.
We have allotment gifts.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is from the allotment.
I love that.
Bumble allotment.
Seriously?
You're a very special guest that usually they only get an apple. But I've
that corn you got
brought
there?
you some quince.
Lovely.
What quince?
Love a bit of quince.
Yeah.
Quince.
It's quite refined stuff.
Put it
Yeah,
on your
have a
cheese.
couple of quince.
Thank you.
Take back to.
Is that corn you got there?
And this is sweet corn.
I do love
straight out of the allotment.
I love sweet corn.
Yeah, there you are.
Oh.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
The Bumble sweet corn.
Yeah.
Love it.
Here's
Love it.
another.
Have you ever been given...
I don't get given any gifts by anybody.
Have another sweet corn.
Oh, I love that.
There you go.
Love that. Thank you.
How do you grow sweet corn in Manchester?
He lives in
I
York.
don't live in Manchester.
Oh, don't you? York then, York.
That's that line from Pietersen. Does your dog bite? No.
It's not my
The
dog.
dog is not my dog.
Hey, York's it's the area to live. I was reading about York the other day.
It's lovely.
Place in the UK to
It's
buy
lovely.
property.
Do they still have hand-pumped Tetleys?
No, I'm not. You don't see much
Used to love
Tetleys up
hand
there.
pumps.
It's
Tetley's-
not-
Tetley's still going?
Tetley's, it's. I think it's brewed in. I might be wrong. I think it's brewed in Burton. I don't think.
I
it's
once
not.
went to watch Jeffrey playing for Yorkshire with my village mates.
Yes.
We were on a holiday. And the bet...
Yorkshire?
in Yorkshire. And the bet was... we had our captain who was from Yorkshire. And the bet was you had to drink 12 pints of hand-pumped Tetleys. And the slowest drinker, who was the last to finish, had to run on the pitch at the end of play, pre-mobile phones, and do a moonie on the square. And that was me. So I ran out, and I think I passed to Jeffrey, actually. He said, where are you going? Get off the square. I ran to the middle and did the moonie and came back as all the lads were cheering on the boundary. They were the days. All mobile phones.
Absolutely.
Well, it's when Tetley's was a good brew.
Oh, loved it.
Well, they sponsored Yorkshire and England in the 90s.
Hand-pumped Tetleys was...
They did. Yeah, we had on the shirts.
Yeah.
Tetley's.
Yeah, Tetley's. We used to go to the tea room. It was like towers of free
Tetley's in the team.
Oh, my
right?
God.
There's only one better bitter, which I'm not sure if you've road tested, but Harvey's.
Yeah, I
it's
get
in
Sussex, best.
So that's my local brewery. 3
Yeah,
miles
that's
from my
lovely.
village.
That's
Delicious pint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. But York, do you get to York at all? I live in York.
We had this great guy called Peter Tummins, who was actually a publisher of cricket books. And it's actually a really nice story because he was captain of the Newark village team for many, many years. And we all loved this guy. And then eventually went back to live in York. And he had always wanted to be a member of the MCC. This was his lifetime dream.
Why?
And he'd become like, whatever they call it, an associate member or something, whatever it is, the sort of the final stage. And he knew he was dying. And one of his kids said to me, he's got one wish, it's just to get MCC membership. And funny enough, a friend of mine is on the committee here, and they put an appeal in, they studied it, and they do it very occasionally. And they fast-tracked him, and he found out the day before he died that he'd become a MCC member. And it was the last sort of, really, almost one of his last waking moments was his daughter remembered him just saying, I'm in. And I thought that was such a lovely thing. He literally tried for nearly 30 years.
Are you an MCC member?
No.
No? Sir Alastair?
Yeah.
Well,
Piers?
God, no.
No?
Rebel without cause.
So you would...
No, not after
You'd
what...
not accept one?
No, I still have a protest going even longer than the one against you, actually. But the protest was... the way that Ian Botham got treated in 81, that was it for me. No thanks.
Is that when they booed him here?
No, when they all it was even worse than booing. Yeah. He was England captain, obviously under the cosh, but one of the great, servants to the game we've ever had. And they all just turned their backs on him and sort of carried on, just ignored him.
I remember that.
And Beefy was so hurt by it. And then I've always gone in the box Danish, our mutual friend Danish, and we always felt like we were the rebels right down here, cocking a snook at the snooty members who gave Beefy the old cold shoulder. Yeah, I've never...
Fair, it was 81. They're probably all gone by now.
Well, how long ago? Yes, 44 years ago.
I was wondering...
Is Beef a member? Is Beef?
I don't think he is.
No, I can't imagine.
I don't think he... No.
Are you a member, Phil?
No.
You played here for all your life.
I've played here all my life. I've
they've never given you a membership?
No.
That's disgraceful.
That is ridiculous.
I reckon I've probably...
How many wickets did you get here?
Thousands.
Well, you got over 1,000 first-class wickets.
Yeah. Hours I've spent running around on that turf, probably I should be a member.
And the amount of time you spent asleep in the
Would you like to
dressing
be a
room.
member? Would you like to be a member?
I don't know really, what does it do for you? I get into the ground anyway. I can come in anyway.
I don't actually want to watch in that pavilion. I've never, ever hankered to do that. I'd much rather be with my village mates up in the Edgeridge or something, or in Beefy's box or whatever. But
Hey, let's
I've never
bring
wanted
Kieran
to be
in here.
there.
Kieran, get in here. Kieran, have you got your clip? I've got this clip of Saturday. So Saturday was was it the Village Cup final?
No, it was the
National
ECB
Cup,
National Cup
National
final.
Cup final. This is what-
Champions League final of
Let me just get it up. Give me a minute.
Your
Right
club?
there.
my local club. Yeah.
Are you playing?
Oh no, I'm not good enough. To
was
get in
playing.
there.
Is it your local team?
Right,
My
this
local
is
team in
what
Ormskirk, yeah.
cricket's all about.
Brilliant. There he is. Did they win?
Yeah.
This is them just getting a wicket. Wait a minute.
That's brilliant.
Opening back.
Army. Army.
Is that the village?
Barmy or
The village. Is that the village one?
No, the
That was
ECB
Sunday.
club one. That was
I used to
Sunday.
play in the village one. I knew it.
So
I played in one of your games.
who were you playing?
Well, no, that was a fun one.
Penzance,
We used to
yeah.
play in the village knockout.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I got 100 for Piers.
He got
did
one of the,
you?
he played one of the best knocks.
He was-
This guy was also
they
caught
were
behind on
against
about 12.
Penzance. They were playing Penzance.
Yes, that was-
And I was down in Sidmouth this last week, and I was supposed to go on Saturday to Sidmouth. I get the call on Friday from Sky, come and do T20 Blast Day.
Great to see you back.
It was brilliant.
It was
I
great.
said, yeah, I'll come. And we moved the holiday a bit. And I went down and did. Friday, they rung up. Friday, do you want to come in? I said,
We should
yeah.
mention that. I don't. You'd have had many messages, but the amount of people that messaged me saying Bumble's back on Sky.
No, of course.
It was great day.
Sorry, just
it really was.
elephant in the room. He should never have left Sky,
Well, no.
right? You were literally, it was ridiculous. I'm happy to say that because I'm uncensored, as you know. But it was ridiculous, and I think you were a victim of a very weird time in this country's existence, where people were just getting cancelled left, right, and centre for bullshit, and you were one of those victims. So I'm thrilled you were back, And if Sky are watching this, you should just get you back on the airwaves.
I don't think I should have ever thought I'd do it. I actually agree with Piers on this one.
Oh, there we go, Cookie.
I was actually.
You
when I
two
knew
are
that.
really back. The mascot, right? Who won it?
Who won it?
Lanky.
It was
Lanky.
no. He got disqualified. The winner, because he set off early.
And was that you made that call or?
No.
VAR or whatever you
That was
call
it. VAR. Yeah, whatever. What is it? No, VAR. They don't do that VAR, do they?
No, what do they
just go to the. VAR. Yeah. He's offside. He's fucking not. Yeah, it's good. It was a good day. Great pitch, by the way.
Great game.
Great pitch.
You were singing, weren't you? I saw you singing with the crowd.
Oh, yeah.
You got them going a bit.
They said keep a low profile. Get across in the crowd and have a sing.
What was your first line?
My first line, as I was saying.
Did you say that? Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I've just bought some of the Lord's turf. They're selling a load of it.
What now?
Yes, they're selling a load of the turf because they're relaying whatever
right.
section it is. And you could buy it, I think it's 50 quid a slab. And I'm going to just put it in my garden and have a little Lord's shrine. Yeah.
Yeah.
What could you?
How big
could
is
you
it?
buy a lot?
I think it's about that
can
big.
be,
Yeah, they're literally selling blocks of the Lord's turf.
A sod.
Yeah, I bought 2 sods. I mean, there's 4 here I could have gone for. But
Is that what it's called? A sod?
I think so, yeah.
Sod of
How do you
Sod,
know
yeah.
that?
It is a sod.
How do you know?
I know, my God.
One show.
Yeah, the one show. Do you know which bit of turf it is, though?
no, there's
can you ask for a
well,
run-up bit?
Well, they've obviously already relayed it, I think, because you can pick it up from Monday. Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So I ordered 2.
No, they can't
2
have
slabs.
relayed it because they're still playing, aren't they?
Oh, I might
They're going to relay it next week.
I'm not playing here this week. Is there a game here this
Well, I
week?
don't know.
Been rolling the pig.
Well, maybe they're doing it now then. 'cause
I reckon it'll be,
You can pick it up on Monday, your turf. I
Yeah,
know
after the season.
Are you going to commemorate the turf in the garden?
Do you know what? I've actually.
Which of your many houses, gardens are you?
No,
gonna
I'll
put
tell
it
you what I'm going to do. I bought 2, one for me, but also one. You remember him, my mate from my village, Miles, who very sadly got a very bad brain cancer, and it killed him very quickly. But he was an absolute cricket nut, and we used to come to Lord's. And the last time I came with him, we worked out we'd been to Lord's together 100 times, just over 100 times. And this was the last time we were going to be. And when I heard they were selling the turf, I thought it'd be really nice to just give his widow, who's a great friend of mine too, but to give her a bit of the turf for their garden because he'd have loved that. But he was a real Lord's. He loved Lord's, loved cricket, loved all you guys. He'd have been watching this, telling me to stop talking, you lot to do the talking. But yeah, a great guy.
I've got a bench from that Warne stand,
Yes.
one of the benches. You remember the old bench?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I've got
The old wooden
all
slats.
done up.
I can beat that.
Go on, what you got?
I've got the old. You know when the balcony got extended?
Yes.
For the England dressing room
Oh,
balcony.
you got the bench they sat on?
I was here when they suddenly started the development, and I went on the balcony. They were about to knock it.
Yeah.
And there was this old bench.
Did you nick it?
I didn't nick it. No, I asked. I said, "What?" And they just said, "Take it."
Really? That's brilliant.
What, the
And
bench that we all used to sit
Yeah,
on?
and I
up
actually
there?
gave it. So I used to. So when I was England captain
That's
and
nice.
played from 2000 here, the balcony next door there was a guy that used to sit on the balcony called David Jacobs. He used to work for Dunlop, worked with Greg Norman for many years, and he became a great mate. And when I was England captain, people say, "Oh, did you get advice from ex?" I actually got more advice from business leaders about trying to lead people and get to know the person rather than the player, all that kind of stuff. My dad gave me that kind of message.
Graham.
But David was fantastic, and I actually gifted it to David.
Really?
David, yeah.
Oh, I
He's
love
got
it.
down in Devon, yeah. So, yeah, you've got the one from where? Did you probably nicked yours? Did you? I actually got given it.
No. One of the farmers up for where Tommy Banks is. One of the farmers, his next door farmer, Jeff Thornton. We're bringing some meat down in a big wagon to Smithfield Market, and he said, "On your way back, call in and pick 8 benches." He picked 8 up, and he's given me one. Yeah, give me one. Yeah, it's lovely.
Oh, I could have bought me little bit that I used to stand up fine leg. I could have got me little fine leg bit
need
that
a
I
sod.
stood on there for all those
What
hours.
were your best performance here? What was your best performance, wicket-wise? Not batting.
Oh, crikey. Well, I got me 67 not out here.
Did you really?
Yeah, 67 not out. Yeah, 67
Who
not
were you
out.
playing?
Against
Worcester,
Worcester.
Really?
Worcester, yeah.
I didn't know you got that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, all in 4s.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, you can't do that in 67?
67 all in 4s. Something about this story isn't quite ringing true.
What year? What year?
Oh, God knows, Bob. I don't
Oh,
know.
come on. What roundabout?
Well,
So who's the attack?
Tom Moody, Australia, international. Richard Illingworth,
Yeah,
England
left arm.
international.
Wow.
Phil Newport.
Phil Newport.
Yeah.
Swing bowler.
England.
Lampett.
Jed Lampett.
Stuart.
Stuart Lampett.
Yeah.
And left armour, good bowler, Shuriar.
We have to check.
Yeah, Sheriar.
Sheriar left arm. He played
yeah.
under 19s with me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have to
Smashed it
check.
everywhere. And at one stage, because you know I used to, as you say,
Give yourself a bit of room.
I used to give myself a bit of room. Used to clear the front
Clear the
leg
front
and
leg,
back
yeah,
leg.
clear the front.
And at one stage, it was up that end. They had a 9-0 field.
Yes.
All on the offside,
Yeah.
because they just couldn't bowl to me. I just kept smashing it everywhere, and I nipped inside the line and flicked it off my hip,
No.
and all 9 fellas ran after the ball to go again. That's where I got my 3.
You must have had a 6 or 7 for though,
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
8
I think
for. Do you have an 8 for?
Not here, no. I don't think here. I've had a couple of 8-fers, but not here. Oh, no, I've had a couple of 10-fers here. Can't remember them, to be honest with you.
Stick to Cricket is brought to you by Betfair. This episode of Stick to Cricket is brought to you by Huel. Hey, Phil, we travel a lot.
Yeah.
It's nice to have a bit of Huel, isn't it? That you can just pack in your suitcase or in your
Absolutely.
rucksack.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lovely flask as well, isn't it? Look at that. It's an absolute beauty. Well, no, I mean, when I played, I found it always difficult to, at lunchtime, you can't go and have lunch, did you? I didn't really manage to get anything down me, you know what I mean, when you're playing. So something like this would be cracking.
Well, I'll tell you what, this...
All the boost and all the vitamins. Lovely.
Well, what you can put in here is this Huel Black Edition. 40 grams of protein.
Lovely.
It comes in 26 vitamins in this pack.
Yeah, flavours.
Comes in different flavours like caramel, chocolate, vanilla. Pile it in here, add a bit of water, shakey wakey. Have a try.
Yeah.
Have a try. This is the vanilla.
Yeah. Healthy caramel, that sounds nice.
Oh, that's nice, the vanilla. Yeah. Just got to make sure you shake it, Phil.
Oh, that's all right.
Not without the top on.
No, that's right.
Yeah, so this is it. 40 grams of protein.
Yeah.
26 vitamins.
Get all the good stuff in here.
Yeah, a few different flavours. Perfect. Lovely.
Get the good stuff down here.
Huel makes healthy eating simple. Try it today and get £10 off and use our exclusive code STC at huel.com/STC. Stick to Cricket is brought to you by Betfair. Piers, why cricket?
Well, I grew up in a village where the cricket was a big part of the village. 1,500 people, 3 pubs, and a restaurant and a cricket pitch. What more do you want?
Lovely.
So I used to started playing with the village when I was about 12, 13. But I was a very good player at prep school. So I went to a prep school, then a comprehensive, and I actually got into the England prep schools squad. Never actually played. No, I was a fast bowler. Oh. I was a fast bowler. I was quick, mate. When I was 12, I was rapid. I was rapid. And my hero was Dennis Lilly.
Right.
So when I was 12 years old, I got picked in the England prep schools squad. Never got a game, but that was the pinnacle of my sporting achievement. But I remember my first test. I was thinking today when I came in, 1975, day 1, Lord's Test. I mean, you couldn't get better than this. Lillian Thompson, bowling England. I think Barry Wood was one of the owners.
Yes, he was.
John Edridge was another one. David Steele came in.
Greggy captain.
Tony Gregg was captain. So Steele we had a couple of quick wickets to Lilly. He took 4 or 5 day 1. Thompson was out of control.
Yeah.
Bowling no ball after no ball.
That's
And
it.
then occasionally
Yeah.
I think he got
Tommy
Steele
Spencer.
with a
Tommy
Yorker.
Spencer on.
Yorked him, and it was electric. But Gregg started signalling the boundaries off Lilly. Gregg got 96.
Yeah.
Steele got 50 and 40 odd in the second knock. And he still looked like an old bank manager. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do.
Grey hair, glasses, coming in. And apparently all the officers were like, who the fuck?
Just your cap on.
And it was, but it was great. And
That's exactly it.
It was.
Who the fuck's that?
Yeah. And it was...
He used to hook them, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He was a really good player. And I fell in love with it. And and the weird thing, probably when I look back and when I was young about cricket, I used to write to a lot of cricketers and get their autographs. In those days, autographs were a big thing. I used to be one of those guys you'd find around the back with my book full of pictures, you know. And I used to queue up for Bumble. Seriously. And you were always a good signer. Me and my brother, my army brother, who became a colonel in the British Army, we judged everybody to this day on whether they were good signers or bad signers.
Jeffrey?
Jeffrey was either brilliant and would literally chat to you for an hour, or he'd totally ignore you. There was no middle. It depended how many runs he got. So if he got 0, we just knew not to go near him. But I remember, I used to write to loads of people, and I started getting obsessed with Don Bradman because of his statistics. Yeah. So I started writing to Don Bradman, and he used to write back. Yeah. I can remember his address, number 2 Holden Road, Adelaide, South Australia. And I used to write to him as a fan, right? And he used to write back these letters. I've got them, loads of letters at home. And then about 13, 14, I became secretary of my cricket club.
At 14?
At 14. I was you'll be unsurprised to hear, a very precocious child. And I was just annoyed I wasn't president. But I was secretary. And we had our centenary year. And my job was tasked with finding somebody to write the forward. Now get this, to write the forward to the brochure we were producing for our 100 years. And the only thing I could think of was that Sheffield Park, you might remember this, Bumble, Sheffield Park was the nearest place to Newark, my village, and Sheffield Park used to host the Australians on their first game of every tour, right? Including when Bradman was the captain. And Lord Sheffield, who owned Sheffield Park, then went to Australia and formed the Sheffield Shield. So there was a connection. So I said to Bradman, look, given the connection, because we're the nearest still playing club to Sheffield Park, would you possibly write a forward? So I didn't hear anything. And then about a month later, this massive parcel arrives at my house. And in it is a 1,000-word typed forward by Don Bradman, who'd actually found out that 2 of the Langridge brothers, Jim and John Langridge, came from Newark, my village, our most famous cricketers, present company accepted. And he'd written a 1,000-word forward, and he enclosed loads of pictures of himself playing at Sheffield Park, and then with Lord Sheffield in Australia at the Sheffield Shield. And it was just quite amazing. So it then became this, it was one of my first journalism coup, because he got into the national press that Don Bradman had written this incredible forward. But when I think about it, imagine that he did that.
Yeah. The time, just to take the time.
And I've heard a lot of stories from journalists who didn't get on with Brad. He didn't really trust the media or like them. And he could be quite prickly. And I used to say to all of them, my experience was he was absolutely incredible.
Absolutely.
So he carried on writing to me till he died. I've got about 30 letters.
What? I've
got them all at home.
Yeah.
Some are handwritten. He was very particular. So if I wrote to him as a fan, Piers, his fan, he would handwrite, "Dear Piers, yours Don." And then if it was me as the secretary of the cricket club, typed, "Dear Mr. Morgan, yours sincerely, Sir Donald Bradman." So I found one the other day with a letter from him saying, "Dear Piers, thank you very much indeed for your invitation for me to come and stay at your home for the centenary test match. But unfortunately, I won't be making the journey due to my vast age." And my mother read it and went, "What did you do?" I'd invited Don Bradman to come and stay at our house for a couple of weeks but that was, I guess, we used to have a saying. My mother gave me this postcard, and I've still got it on my desk, and it just says, it's a hippopotamus flying with a flock of seagulls. And it just has a headline, "Ambition knows no bounds." So I used to just think, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? Just ask, Yeah. And I do say to people now, I say to my kids, I say to friends.
You can always say no.
Just ask. If you've got a dream, you want something to happen, well, just ask the question, because most people don't.
Are your lads into cricket?
They love it.
Yeah.
They love it. We all went to...
Well, Gooners as well, aren't they?
As Alastair knows, we came out for our dream trip, was the Ashes in 2013. Where they nearly watched me die at the hands of Brett Lee.
Oh, we'll get on to that.
The older 2 found it funny. The youngest one actually thought I was going to die and was quite shell-shocked.
Yeah.
You, I understand, were cheering on Brett Lee in the dressing room.
It was live on TV, and I won't mind. Actually, no, because we hadn't really...
Should we just have a look at that? This is
You played it quite well, Pete.
This was kind of before everything anyway, wasn't it?
I mean, the stance is pretty good, Piers.
Yeah.
No. I was also had a massive chest guard, like a Michelin man.
Good. Yeah,
Remember
you
that?
did.
You drew the crowds.
Yeah, Warne there, look.
Bless him.
Yeah, so the first one hit my wrist, and I thought he'd broken my wrist.
But you've gone down.
That's
to
the
it.
4th ball where he hit the broken rib. So the first one hit my wrist. I thought he'd literally broken my wrist, and the second one I dived for cover, literally. The third one breaks clean fractures my rib. And then the 4th one, he hit the broken rib, and we had these headsets. He came running down and he went, "Oh, mate, did you hear that one crack?"
Was that you, Skipper?
That was me, yeah, Channel 9, yeah.
Warne, Martin Nicholas, everyone was down.
So he got you proper.
Oh, he properly tried to kill me, yeah.
Oh,
That was the second one. And he was bowling massive no ball.
Yeah, they were huge.
18 yards.
well, that's rude.
If he'd bowled from the correct distance, I'd have spanked him.
Absolutely. But the first
But I
ball
was
we
giving him the
saw...
old Rocky Balboa, come on then, so he did just get faster and faster. And it was like being in an abattoir, like 10,000 people.
Yeah, there was a good crowd.
And it was live on Sky and live on Channel 9.
We had a meeting at Sky
Yes.
as to whether we would cover it.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, definite. And there's a camp saying, look, he's going to get seriously hurt. Why do we want to cover
Absolutely.
this? Last minute, they said, we'll cover it.
And was that decision taken because they decided the British public would want to see me seriously?
But what was it like for obviously not the best cricketer ever, but like facing something at 95,
so
in terms of like...
It was really interesting because
Like speed.
I'd played a lot of club cricket. I hadn't played for about 5 years club cricket then. I'd been in America, so I hadn't really been playing. But what was interesting to me, when I was playing like East Sussex League Division 1, so one below County League, you would get the odd bowler who could be pretty rapid, right? It could be mid-80s, right? Give you a proper old going over. They come down from the County League, maybe even ex-county. And I just remember facing them, and then I remember this. And I didn't see any of them. I literally did not see the ball. It was a white ball with a grey background, and the whole thing was, I mean, I just couldn't see it. But the one thing I remember talking to someone, I think maybe KP said to me, look, he said to me the night before, don't do this. He said, Bing is a great bloke, but with a ball in his hand, he's a psychopath. And he said he will try and get you. And I was just didn't want a throat ball. The only thing I thought could really hurt me was a throat ball. So I thought, I'm not going to get in line, because that's the most dangerous place probably for me to find myself. So that's why I was just... So Viv Richards, I did it with him the night before, and he goes, here's what are you going to do, man? You got to take it to him, man. Get down the track. So you see on the first ball, I started giving Brett Lee the charge. And Brett said afterwards, oh, mate, he said, it was like a shark when it sees blood moving in the water. I just had to spear you. But no, it was honestly, it was terrifying. And I realised then the massive gulf between facing someone in their like low 80s, which was the fastest I've ever faced. And actually also I'd say facing, that was when Warne said give him something to hit, and he yorked me. And then the sixth ball, he hit me again, just for one more old time's sake. When I turned up at the clinic the next day, I went to go get patched up because I knew I was in trouble. I had bruises everywhere. It was leading the news in Australia. It was the lead story on the news.
Do you remember the night?
Yes, we were partying.
Yes.
Me, you, Lord Gower.
Yeah,
you were there.
At Warnie's house.
At Warnie's house.
With his mum and dad, Keith and... I forgot his mum's name.
I remember it all very well.
And Gingle was there.
Yes.
James Packer.
Everyone was there.
They were all there, lovely, in Brighton, Melbourne.
Yes.
Where he lived.
It was brilliant, lovely.
I said, how do you feel? He said, I can't move.
But
He'd smash you, you'd bust your wrist.
Yeah, and I remember going to the clinic the next day, and I walked in, there were about 2 doctors and 3 nurses, and they all started clapping. Because it was the lead story on the news.
Was.
And they
weren't going to write about our cricket.
No. But they said, Mr. Morgan, we've been waiting for you. But I'll tell you what I do remember. Because this had all come about, because as you know, I just said to KP and whoever else I knew in the team, I said, just don't lose before we get there. It's a dream trip. And we'd won here. Do you remember that summer? The back-to-back Ashes. We'd won here. Yeah. No one thought for a moment we were going to get flatlined out there. And so I planned the dream trip. Me and my 3 sons and my younger brother were on a dream trip. All expense, like no expense spared, right? And you lost 3-0 2 days before we arrived. So I went on Twitter, giving it the usual big one, saying, bloody, Mitchell Johnson, Terry, show some balls, stand up for yourself, all this kind of thing. And eventually Brett Lee went, you think you could do any better, mate?
Yeah, that's it.
On Twitter, I went, absolutely I do. He said, so you'd face 6 balls for me, would you, if I get a net at Melbourne? Absolutely. And I'm like, thank God he's never going to do this. And then the next thing, I'm in there. But it was a fascinating experience. And I remember going back into the stand. It was a world record crowd that game at the MCG. 93,000.
Was that day 1?
I think day 2 was the world record, actually. I can't remember, but it was one day they broke the record. And I went back in, and all the English were like, "You wanker!" Right, embarrassing yourself, blah blah blah. All the Aussies stood up.
Good on you.
Yeah. Good on you. At last, a bloody pond with some guts around here. So, Sir Alastair, I didn't even get a lot of MBE for that.
Now you know what it's like to face that pace. Would you do it again?
No. I don't think anyone would be allowed to do it again. Because if you remember, very sadly, Phil Hughes got killed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He died about within a year. So I don't think anyone will ever do it again. Look, I just think it was an amazing experience to understand just what I learned was, you guys, when you face bowling like Brett, I mean, Bretley, one of the 3 fastest ever, potentially? Yeah. And he was still opening the bowling in the big bash, so he was still pretty quick. And off that distance, Warne reckoned it was, given where he was bowling from, I was facing pretty well peak Brett Lee speed. And it was just, I didn't have time to react. And so it made me realise, you guys, when you face that kind of bowling, a lot of it is just you get so finely tuned to play with just instant, intuitive reaction.
Yeah. But Piers,
you don't really have time to think about it.
Piers, the difference, actually, when you're out in the middle, number one, they're off 22 yards.
Yeah.
And when you've got a net around you, it's awful.
Yeah.
You're in a confined space. It's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, it's way worse. That's really way worse.
But just to confirm, did you actually cheer him on?
I was watching on TV, but we hadn't really fallen out at that stage.
No, I know.
Not that we ever did fall out. But it was...
We've never met, just to be clear.
Yeah, we have never met.
Will you be meeting again?
I don't know, whether course
why not?
15 years' time.
Well, we did nearly meet. I may as well tell the story because it is funny, because we found ourselves I was in the president's box and you were in the chairman's next door.
Someone else told me this.
And Ashley Giles was still in the England camp then, and I knew Ashley well, and he said, David, he came around and said, Lloyd, I said, maybe it's a time, we had a rope between us. And we were sitting there for hours, right, without even exchanging a hello. And I'll come to my culpability and why things had got so thick, because I went over the top, and I'm prepared to concede that. But he said he went up to you, and he had a bottle of champagne and a couple of glasses. He said, Cookie, why don't you just go round and make it up with Piers? It's time. It's been enough time. And you went, I'd rather smash his fucking glass over his head.
Go on, Chef.
I thought it was one of the best lines I'd ever heard you say. Suddenly you got a lot more interested.
Do you think?
Is that true?
Sir Alastair, do you think you got knighted for that line?
Sir Alastair.
Did I say that? I would never have said it tough. It's me and you.
So I'm going to have to.
Anyway, I thought it was very funny for what it's worth. And I honestly, if I'd been you, and because I think I kept calling you a weasel for about 6 months, then fair enough.
That's to do with KP.
Well, we fell out without ever meeting because I still feel this. I felt that whole thing was just really badly handled, and I loved watching Kevin Pietersen bat. He'd been, to me, the greatest post-war batsman we produced. Certainly the most entertaining. He was fit as a fiddle. He'd been the top scorer in that series, and yet he became the sacrificial lamb who never played for England again. And it reminded me a little bit of Harold Larwood. Have you read that brilliant book by Duncan Hamilton about Larwood? Larwood, who, in different circumstances, but he neutralised Bradman in the Bodyline series, never played for England again. Because the establishment kind of rallied against him and said, you've got to apologise. And Larwood's mother said, if you apologise to the Australians, I'll never speak to you again, Harold. And he ended up going to Australia, living there where they loved him. Yeah. So I was very matey with Kevin, and he'd been a really good mate to me, and he was very hurt by it all, much more than I think people realised. And I think that I could see, looking back on it, I've got to know a lot of the people in that world, even that team and around it. And I just think it was like a great team that was suddenly hit the buffers. And everyone was falling out, a lot of stuff going on, a lot of egos, a lot of things going on. And the real victim, I think, was the England cricket fan who would have loved another 5 years out of Kevin Pietersen. And I just felt the fact he never played again after 33 still, to me, feels like that should have been better handled. But I have to admit, I was very full on against you personally without knowing you. And when I look back at some of the things I tweeted about you, I know you're not on social media, but I did go over the top. So I will take this opportunity.
Is this the first time you've ever apologised?
I'm sorry for the 30.
There we go.
I'm
sorry for the 38th weasel.
It's emotional. That is emotional.
But I mean, looking back.
What do you think looking back?
Well, looking back, it was, I obviously I was part of the decision that KP never played again. Do I regret it? You make the decision because you think it's right for the England cricket team at that time, and you think for what's gone on leading up to it, I went with Strauss and all that stuff. Obviously, as an England captain, you are part of it. You're not overall responsible. Obviously, there's loads of things. I don't know whether we got it right or wrong. What I do know, it was handled badly from both sides, but the world, we can't always live in, like, you know what I mean, saying like, live in the past anymore. Like me and KP see each other all the time.
Yeah, no, he said he's got no
commentating.
issues with anyone. Yeah.
And it's, you know, and we have buried the hatchet. It's what was really like sad about it. Obviously, we never fell out personally. Do you know, at all ever fell out personally about. We played together. We actually had a really good batting record together. Like actually opposites in terms of how we played, and actually suited me when I batted with KP. It's brilliant because he walked out, and obviously all the attention went to KP because how destructive a player he was, and how, you know, he played some great innings.
Brilliant.
And I could just get on my business and knock along. So looking back, obviously it was personally for me, it was a real tough 6 months as a captain when you felt, and this is, I don't want to dig at ECB or anything, I felt so exposed as the England captain, like, because, you know, it wasn't just my decision.
Who was coach at the time? Andy Flower?
No, Andy Flower was until 13, but he left. He was then. So actually, it was a proper clean break. Piers Moore.
That would have saved a lot of hardship. Only you had
God,
me.
you're much.
Only you'd done the right thing. Brought me in. You'd have been straight out. KP back. Off we go.
Peter Moore's, Dowd. There's loads of good people around. Anyway, it happened, and it was just a sad way because cricket was on the front, back pages, middle pages, for all the wrong reasons. And sport should never ever be like that. It should be about. Anyway, it has happened. Can't do anything about it now. But there's no point.
No, but I also felt with Kevin that he was way ahead of his time with the IPL and all that kind of stuff, and the cricket establishment here were very anti him, and that permeated into the rest of the team around him and stuff. That there was a lot of resentment. I think he was getting all these millions in the IPL.
I have to disagree.
You don't think that's true?
I have to disagree. I didn't see any of that resentment. I didn't see that. What I do understand, looking back now, how the world has moved with the franchise cricket.
Well, the point I was going to make was, I think now, obviously, everyone is encouraged to do it, but at the time, he was treated a bit like a pariah because he.
I remember the ECB chairman back in the day, Giles Clark, you know, who was a part of the group that got into bed with Alan Stanford. His line was, the IPL, it's a flash in the pan.
Right.
I remember being around when he said that. A flash in the pan, the IPL, and look at it now. It's probably up there with the richest franchise leagues in the world across all the sports.
Well, I suppose at that time, it's a really hard balance because this franchise was coming in where but then there's also playing for your country in May, where those first test matches, it was very structured.
I agree.
Right.
First test match in May, and we had situations where a couple of players, almost unfairly on certain players as well, KP and that, you had to choose between millions of pounds or.
But that was the problem, isn't it? And now that isn't a problem because now they schedule it so that you can do both. And that's what should have happened. If they'd had the awareness about how big the IPL potential was, they should have accommodated the best players here who were always going to be. You know.
But it's such a hard thing because you got like teams which you're trying to build, say, and it's different now.
I agree with you.
It's totally different back there. It's all about. And when I grew up, when you grew up, it's all about just playing red ball cricket for England. So this thing comes in where it's taking people away from that. And you say, well, we've got to build a team. You can't pick and choose when the line was. You can't pick and choose playing for England. So he was ahead of his time, absolutely. But obviously, I think I haven't spoken to him about it. It's like, I'm sure he would have said, well, I could have done that differently as well.
No,
it's a bit like the word you said. We should all sit around the table.
Yeah.
At the time, and there might have been a way around.
The most interesting conversation I had about it all was I played in remember Beefy had a 60th at Wormsley, really great event. I smacked Glenn McGrath all over the place, just putting it out there. And and then got him out first ball for North. So you can ask Glenn, he doesn't like to talk about it. I do. But I ended up in a dressing room with Andrew Strauss and Adam Hollyoak, who was one of the great captains, Adam
Very
Hollyoak.
good.
And he ripped into Strauss. It was a great debate about this whole thing, you know. And it just made me think, I just think that in the end, I think that it was, and I'll say this with great respect to you, because I think as a batsman, opening batsman for England, really very few people could compare with your record, and I've got great respect for that. And we've never met until today, and you seem a very nice chap. I would personally argue, and you can certainly throw this back at me, but I don't think captaincy was your strong point. And I think those players with big egos like Kevin, I talked to Mike Brealey about this, right? He had a lot of big egos in the team when he was leading it. You know, how you handle that. When I ran a Daily Mirror newsroom with 400 people in it, a lot of the best talent were really difficult people. And how you handled them and got the best out of them often dictated how good the paper was, right? And I think with a sports team, I mean, I'd be curious what you think. Did you enjoy being England captain? Did you feel it was a natural thing for you? Well, or would you, looking back, rather not had that
No, I loved it
thing
because
over your
it's
head?
the hardest thing you'll ever do. and the challenge of captaining is just, you know, you don't know what the challenge of captaining that day. You know, it's like every day was different. Well, not even on the field, off the field, everything. I don't know, because you talk. I say I handled, you know, Broady, Jimmy, Ben Stokes coming up. There's loads of like other egos than just. And like, the ego's not the right word actually, because strong personalities and the danger we all know about strong personalities. If they're not aligned perfectly, it's a really hard thing to. And you spend a lot of time managing something which doesn't like you think I'm spending all my time managing it unless the goods are amazing at the end. Then so looking back, obviously KP played some unbelievable innings, like the best in Joe Root's England's best ever batsman I've seen and played, but KP could play innings of a higher standard than Rooty, but Rooty was up that level more times there. But at the end, he wasn't, whether his head was in it perfectly, he wasn't delivering the goods for the amount of effort you're spending doing it. So, like, how do you get that balance right?
Whenever I meet my captains, I always apologise to them. I do. No, for what you just said there, really. I always apologise to them.
You of all the players that I play with, I always look back and think, I'd have loved to have captained you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have adored captain.
You never had a problem with Stewart or Atherton, did you?
No, never.
No, at all.
All
He was
day
fine.
long.
The one thing about
when I was doing the England job, he was fine.
Yeah.
But I got told before, don't go near him.
Well, there you go. That's what used to annoy me.
But Atherton said, whatever you do, get him in the team.
Yeah.
Every time.
What he needed was someone like my grandmother, which brings me to my story about Phil Tufnell and my grandmother.
Let me just finish my one thing.
No.
Before we go to grandma, because we know we're going to go off thick. The one thing about the England captaincy is actually you are the best captain the last day you do it, but you just run out of time to do it.
Yeah.
So all those, I did it for 50 odd games. And it's like people, you get handed it and you go, oh, you're meant to be the best captain from day one. Jesus, it's hard.
You learn the craft
and you learn
of
all the
captaincy.
way. So would
get
one of my strengths been managing egos at the beginning of my career? No, because you have to learn how to do it. But maybe at the end, I would like to think I was better after 4.5, 5 years
That's fair
of
enough.
doing it.
I think that's completely fair enough.
It's a bit like punditry, isn't it? Like, you know, I'm now, I don't like talking about myself, but like 6 years into punditry, I'd hope after those 6 years I've improved as a pundit.
No, you have. And also, it's like being Prime Minister, right? They
They don't last 6 years.
Liz Truss said, if only I'd got 48 days, I'd have been fantastic. No, but actually, most Prime Ministers will tell you they feel like they leave when they've learned the most skills to actually be a capable
But you've got
Prime
nothing
Minister.
else.
I always say, though,
the team's done for you.
it's like, imagine if you went to captain now.
Yeah.
Well, it's like me as a I did all right as a captain, but I think, God, if I could captain now, I'd be miles better than I was when I was 25 captaining.
Yeah.
Now, you're captaining your nation at 25. How old were you when you got the
I
captaincy?
think I was 27.
If I knew
27, you're
what
captaining
I
your
know now.
country. It's young, isn't it?
And I think it's really hard. But because it's professional sport, because it's exposed to people who can throw everything at you, because that's what you expect your England captain. Like it's like Jacob Bethard captaining that. Like, was England captain, you should know. Well, actually, you only
21 years of age, captain.
You learn it.
Do you think that's a good thing then, that they've sort of earmarked sort of Jacob Bethell to captain, or do you think that he hasn't done enough to deserve that?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have given him for that series. I just don't think the boy needed any more pressure. But he actually handled it fine. They won the series, same thing. But you can read all the leadership books you want. And you can captain your county, you can captain any club side, you can do it. Pretty much all of that's irrelevant when you get handed the England captaincy, because it's such a job which you.
Well, I look at
so
Ben Stokes. I mean, Vaughan was the best captain I've seen personally. But I look at Ben Stokes, and I think he's grown into being an amazingly strong, good captain in all areas of what that job now involves. Which is not, probably the playing bit is the most enjoyable bit, right? It's everything around running the England team and running the whole media and all the rest of it. It's a very hard job.
Stick to Cricket is brought to you by Betfair.
If you two captains here, when you go out and you represent your country and you're in the field, how much of it is instinct and how much is planned? This is the plan, this is what we've got the whiteboard. How much when you get out there, hang on, we've got to change this, instinct. And you've got to,
I think it depends.
You're always ahead of the game, you've got to be.
It depends.
You can't be reactive.
My style was, I wanted information, but I wanted to react. So I wanted to react to the situation out in the middle. So, you know, you bowl first because you think there's going to be a bit of something in the
So you've got to be proactive, not reactive.
Absolutely.
So we saw at the beginning against India that Shubman Gill was reactive, but he got better. Yeah. But he's only a young captain.
The more I did it, the more I understood it. Whatever thought came into my mind, it was the right thought.
Yeah.
Because just go for it. So if I thought, I need 5 slips, just go for it. And fundamentally, I think, I look at a lot of young captains who try and do it in the county game. I go, what the hell are you doing? Why would you want to be the captain at a young age? You know, because the older I got, you realise that it is a bit of fun. You know, if you can take the kind of fun element out onto the field and realise that, by the way, you're not going to be right all the time, but if you're willing to make decisions and if you're willing to go for it, and it's not being extravagant, you know, I'm putting fields for fielding's sake, but if you're willing to make decisions all the time, that's why I really admire Ben Stokes. Because I'm sitting there commentating, as we all do, and we sitting there and you kind of go, wow, that's great. Because he's making things happen all the time.
There's a reason I'm asking this, but what percentage of decisions have to be right if you're a captain for you to get the credibility and support of the team?
You got to win.
Right. I'll tell you why, when I did America's Got Talent, right? I'd never done anything like it in my life. I get taken out to LA. Simon Cowell comes and sees me in my trailer next to David Hasselhoff on the Paramount movie lot in Hollywood, right? I'm like, how is this happening? Who cares? Take it, right? And he comes to me and says, right, you can be as mean and judgmental and rude as you like, but you have to be right in your critiques 80% of the time, or the audience watching at home, they won't buy the act. But if they broadly think you're right 4/5 of the time, the act will be fine. They'll love it. And I thought it was such good advice for anything in leadership. Because what it means is you can go for it and you can fail 20% of the time, I think, in anything, right? But when I ran the Daily Mirror, there were people that didn't like me. But what they always said was I took decisions all the time. Because you're making 100 decisions a day as an editor for a daily paper. And I would be wrong 20% of the time, probably. But if I hadn't been right 80%, you don't carry people with you.
Yeah, I guess to say you've got to win. And if you're going to win, you're going to make more decisions right than wrong.
That Britain's Got Talent is a rip-off. No, opportunity, not.
It was.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
You agree?
You agree?
You agree?
I've got to tell you, friends. I've got to tell you, friends, and I mean this most sincerely.
Folks.
Who won it for 12 weeks?
Bobby Crush.
No, I remember him.
Oh,
You've done this already?
yeah, we've had this.
We did
It was the
Fella in his underpants.
yes, yeah, it was. It was.
Musical muscle man.
Yeah.
Tony Holland.
Yeah, that's
Tony
right.
Holland.
And the fella with the tin. He knocked him off, banging his tin on his head, singing Mule Train.
But the thing is, it was a rip-off. I mean, I remember Simon Cowell took me out for lunch
He's a nice
in
guy.
Kensington.
Is he a nice
great guy?
Is he?
And I owe him a lot, actually. I wouldn't have had any career in America without him. He's been great for me. But he took me out for lunch before any of the talent stuff had started. And X Factor was obviously the biggest thing in the world at the time. And he said, I'm going to bring back an all-round talent show. He said, like New Faces, Opportunity Knocks, and The Gong Show in America. Do you remember The Gong Show? And it's any talent. And this is an amazing story. So this is what happened. We did a pilot at ITV, right, for Paul O'Grady's Got Talent. He was the host.
Yes.
The judging panel was Simon Cowell, me, and Fern Britton.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I
Fern
know
Britton, he was then
I
doing
think I
This
knocked
Morning.
Fern out in the dance-off on Strictly 2012.
I think you did.
I think I knocked her out.
you did.
You must have been bad.
That
think it was my cha-cha-cha, got rid of her.
in their eyes.
See,
Remember that one?
We did.
Stars in their
I do.
eyes.
So it was like a pastiche, but what was the audience were the contestants, and they all came up on stage, right? And the audience cheered them or whatever. So that's how it started. Then it was about to be greenlit as a primetime ITV show, and I'd been fired from the Mirror, disgrace, shambles, blah blah blah. I was trying to get back in the game somehow, and this was going to be my great comeback. And then Cowell rings me and goes, Paul O'Grady's had a massive falling out with ITV. He's told them to shove it up their arse and he's gone to Channel 4. I went, well, what does that mean? He went, they're not going to go ahead with it. I was like, oh. And then I'll never forget, the day my life changed. About 6 weeks later, I get a text message, Piers, I've sold the rights to Got Talent to NBC in America, who want to call it America's Got Talent, which I immediately thought was a way better way of doing it. Patriotic, the big country. And he said, and I need someone he said, I can't be on it because of American Idol in America. He said, so I need someone who's judgmental, opinionated, obnoxious and arrogant as me, and your name has immediately sprung to mind. And he said, can you fly out to LA tonight, I think it was, and see the NBC lot tomorrow, which is what I did. And 3 weeks later, we started, and I remember we filmed the series in LA, and it was the Hoff. Regis Philbin was the host. The Hoff was next to me, total lunatic at the time. And he calmed down afterwards. And about 6 weeks after we finished taping, I was at Ascot getting drunk, betting on the old horses, and my phone goes and it's Cal. And the ratings are coming, right? And this is like one of those, he said to me, 3 out of 30 shows work, new shows work in America. 27 get canned immediately, just bombed. You get yanked off air. So they come out, and I was just waiting. I was like, you know, which way's my sliding door life going to go? And he goes, Piers, it's Simon. It's not good news. I'm really sorry. I went, oh. He said, no, it's actually really bad news. I'm actually very surprised and really disappointed personally. You know, obviously a lot's gone into this. And he strung this fucking thing out for about 3 minutes, right? It's awful. In fact, for me personally, he said, it's about as bad as it could possibly be. I went, oh, God. Really? And he said, yeah, unfortunately, it's a #1 hit by absolute miles. You're the biggest show on American television, and I feel like Dr. Frankenstein who's just created a monster. And I was like, oh, hey! But the point of the story about Cal was he created that literally on a napkin in the restaurant. He went, I'm going to bring back a talent show. It's going to have a sort of tough, meanie judge, a mother hen figure in the middle, and a funny person on the end, and an all-round entertainer as the host. And we'll have any talent. You can do anything you want, not just singing. And now that franchise, Got Talent, I think it's in, I can't remember, it's over 60 countries, I think, worldwide, is the franchise still running today. So this was this lunch was 2005. And it just really, you mentioned, did they rip it off? Yeah, in a way, it was the same idea.
Piers, you've done lots of things, throughout your life. But then, as you say, that phone call in America,
life-changing.
Absolutely.
Well, because I then did that for 6 years, and I did Celebrity Apprentice. So NBC, same network, wanted to do a celebrity version of Apprentice. And because I was working for them on America's Got Talent, they persuaded me to do it. Donald Trump was the host.
Oh,
he chose me. You'll be unsurprised to hear as his apprentice. And in fact, when I won the live finale, he said, "Piers, you're arrogant, you're obnoxious." Familiar thread by now. You're arrogant, you're obnoxious, you're possibly evil. I don't know. He said, but you beat the hell out of everybody, and you're My Celebrity Apprentice, right? Blah, blah, blah. When he became president, I sent him a note. Dear Donald, you're arrogant, you're obnoxious, you're possibly evil, I don't know, but you beat the hell out of everyone, and you're the president of the United States. He was, anyway, but then I replaced Larry King at CNN, all these amazing things, but they all came from that one phone call. Because if that show had been a tanked, we would have been dead on arrival, I'd have been sent backpacking. I remember talking to Annie Robinson, remember, who did Weakest Link?
Yep. Yes.
And he went to America, and she was the queen of mean, biggest star on American television, right?
Robinson.
And then 9/11 happened, and they yanked her off air for 3 months because they didn't want to have anything mean on TV, understandably. And by the time it came back, it had lost all its momentum. And she just said to me, she said, when she was at her peak, she had a bungalow at the Beverly Hills Hotel, in a first class, blah, blah. The moment they decide you're superfluous, you're basically one-way ticket home, no one takes the call.
Goodbye.
It's all over. And
like sport.
But in a way, it's very like sport. It's as brutal as sport. But when you're doing great, it's fantastic. And when you're not doing great, I mean, my grandmother, who I'll come to, had a great line about, one day you're the cock of the walk and the next a feather duster. And she used to always remind me of this, sending me little doodles of the cock of the walk and the feather duster. The point being, don't get overexcited when you're cock of the walk. No. And don't get too down when you're the feather duster. I always think outside of...
Which is exactly like sport.
Exactly like sport.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just having the mental ability to cope with both of those two extremes regularly will determine the career you have and the life you have, right? But my grandmother, this was hilarious. My village team, we decided to take on my family, right? Genuinely my family team. So I take a team of brothers, cousins, uncles, and we go and take on the village. And they're a pretty good little club side. And we get down there and they bring in a Pakistani ringer who's playing for Brighton. He smashed 140 and they hammered us. I went, OK, if you want to play that game, not a problem. So the next year I turn up and I have a big van and out gets Alvin Callicharan, Richie Richardson, Sherwin Campbell, Stuart Williams, Philip Tufnell. I had Frank Bruno to umpire. Anyway, and we got going and we got rained off for about half an hour. So I said, well, we better go back to my place in the village for a party. Went back to my place for a party, had an unbelievable party. Tuffers was leading the charge. And at one stage, he wanted to go to the loo and didn't know where it was in the house. So he goes upstairs to be met, and he's wearing his England jumper. And he's met halfway up the stairs by my grandmother. He's been woken by the noise, right? This is like about 11 at night. And she says, who are you? Tuffer stands to attention and says, Madam, I am Philip Tufnell, Middlesex and England. And she said, well, I'm very pleased for you, but now go back downstairs.
Remember that, Phil?
I do. It was a belted party.
But after that, every year for the next, nearly 20 years, I used to take a family team, but used to have ringers in it. So Vaughan played 3 times, Chris Gale, KP played 3 times, Freddie Flintoff.
147 I got, Dave.
We had Shane Warne came down, Lara came down. In one team, I had Lara, Courtney Walsh and Inzamam Al-Hook one year. And we had 2 2020s. The first one was against the old and young of the club. Second one against the first 11. And Lara goes out in the first one. And the old silver fox, Dave Hutchinson, he's got more superstar batsmen on his belt notch than anyone else. And he comes in, and Lara nicks off second ball. Right? And he stands there. It's massive. We used to get like 2,000-3,000 people. Yeah. And they're all standing there. And Lara stands like, what happens, right? And all the slip call go, fuck off. So he shuffles off. So he gets in the dressing room and in the break between the 2 matches. Meanwhile, Inzamam has gone out to be next man in. And he goes, leave it to me, skipper. The West Indies always let you down. And smoke some beautiful 80. But we got in the dressing room in the halfway thing. And I'm giving a little team talk. I said, little boys, we lost the first game. I said, this can't happen now. This is the big one. And I said, and Brian, and with that, Courtney went like this. I said, yes, Courtney. He said, permission to speak, skipper. I said, of course, Courtney. He said, in my experience of playing international test cricket with Brian Charles Lara for 15 years, he said, when he get naught in the first innings, he don't need no pep talk in the second. And Lara went out at the first ball. He just went. But we had everyone came, and sometimes it'd be like Morning Morkel came and just smashed one of the biggest hundreds. Devon Malcolm hit 120. He was batting 6 in the minor counties that season, and he was just straight hitting them straight to 6. He hit one of the. I mean, you hit your 150 off about 60 balls, wasn't it?
I did.
Are you still doing it?
No, we stopped when the pandemic came. But this is what I was thinking.
Not T20 though, isn't it? But to be fair, he got.
Oh, he's been in form this year. You got a good 7, didn't you?
I got
11, 7 and I've got an 18, I think.
Yeah, I think you'd be good for
We might revive it for one year only, so that you and I can open the baton.
Oh, that would be nice.
Stick to cricket or come and play.
That would be great.
We'd come and play.
That'd be fun.
We'd come and have it.
I'd love to see
You were good against Murray.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Piers, Donald was in town last week.
He was.
State visit. He rang you, is that
He
right?
did ring me.
Yeah, and what's he, on your phone, what does it come up as?
DJT.
DJT.
Yeah.
And does he work, obviously the phone, do you WhatsApp him or do you text?
Text him, and he texts back. He was texting me yesterday morning.
Really?
Yeah, I know it's weird, but then I knew him a long time before he was ever a politician. And when I went to CNN, I interviewed him 40 times. So we became really good friends, and we've stayed that way. It's just he happens to be the most powerful and probably divisive figure in the world. But he's always been good to me. And we've had the odd little falling out, but he was funny. I mean, he loved the Royals. Because people don't realise that why it meant so much to him. That his mother was Scottish. Raised in Scotland until she was 18. Then she went to New York and married Fred, his dad. But when the Queen was coronated in 1953, television had just come out. And Donald was 6, and he sat there with his mum watching a little television of this amazing global event, the first one really ever on television, of the Queen coronation. Yeah. The Queen was in her mid-20s, remember, it was so beautiful and everything. And that stuck with him, and he was just enamoured with the whole royal thing, the monarchy and everything. So when he got the state visit with the Queen, that was incredible. And then this time around, he's the first American president to ever get 2 of them. And this time he had a different monarch as well, also extraordinarily unusual. No one's ever had a state visit from any country with 2 different monarchs in the UK. So it meant a lot to him. And I say to people about Trump, yes, he's got a massive ego. Yes, he's a bit of a narcissist, all those things, of course he is. But if someone is like that and they happen to be in a position to help or not help your country, then you have to play the game, right? You just have to. It's like having a very divisive, annoying, irritating player who happens to be brilliant. You can either harm yourselves by not trying to accommodate it. I'm talking to you here.
I switched off after that.
Or you unceremoniously abandon them. No, I think, so I thought what we did was great because actually I think it made him feel. I know he rang me the next day. He loved the state dinner. He made if you go and watch that speech he did at the state dinner, amazingly pro-British speech where he went through all the great things of our country. I've not heard a Labour Prime Minister doing that. Right, since Starmer came to office. So he's a complex, interesting, fascinating guy who has been twice now President of the United States. So America had 4 years when he wasn't in office to think about him and then voted him back. And I think one of the reasons is they just think he gets stuff done. You may not like what he says. You may not like the way he says it. He loves winding people up. He's all of those things. But if you look at it in America, a lot of people think he gets stuff done.
Piers, what's his WhatsApp?
Yeah, can you just next time you WhatsApp him, can you just, because we've got this clip of Donald, and obviously Major League Cricket in the States.
Yes. Oh yes,
and it's starting to get a little bit of traction. It's kicking.
Where do they play that?
Well, they play it all over the States.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, New York.
Well, there must be a hotbed.
Yeah, I think New York, is there's all these franchise teams around America.
East.
Now, Donald's probably going to get heavily involved. He likes turning up to sporting events, but can you just advise your mate, Donald, on his pronunciations of... Yeah. How does this turn up? Kieran? Where's this gone? We just need to make sure that Donald, if he's going to make a speech at...
Very pronounced, is it?
Yeah. Where's the sound? Where's it gone, look?
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
This is the country where your people cheer on some of the world's greatest cricket players, from Sachin Tendulkar to Virat Kohli.
Can you advise him?
Sachin.
You know, one of the greatest ever to play our great game. And Donald called him Sachin.
Actually, he got quite close.
Yeah. So if you do get a chance to
I'll
WhatsApp
tell
him, can
him.
you just send in
I'll
that
tell him.
clip and just say, look, Sachin.
Philip Tufnell.
If you could get him to pronounce all our names, that'd be great.
For the game, he could come and umpire.
You could get Donald to replace Frank Bruno.
That would be quite good.
Yeah. Stick to Cricket is brought to you by Betfair. Piers, we're going to finish off with a few community questions.
Of course.
Very simple questions. We've had many in for you. This is a good one. You can only pick one of these things. Arsenal to win the Premier League or England to win the Ashes in Australia.
That'll be easy, man.
Do you know what? Somebody once said, would you rather score the winning goal for Arsenal in a Champions League final, or would you rather score 100 at Lords against Australia in the Ashes?
Go on.
I went with the cricket.
Oh, good lad.
So,
Cricket was my real first love. So if I could only choose one, England winning the... You talked about red ball cricket earlier. I don't really watch anything but red ball cricket.
Okay.
To me, Test cricket is not just the best form of the game, but for me, it's really the only one that I get emotionally engaged in.
Yeah.
I thought this series against India was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I think back to the 05 series, just the roller coaster of emotions and the quality of the play and all of it around it. So I would actually go with I would love to see us this winter win the Ashes. I think we've got the team. If Wood and Archer stay fit, I think we've got a great, great chance. And it would be brilliant. It just, when we win the Ashes in Australia, is there a better thing in sport? I don't think so.
well, Cookie did it.
How do they feel?
Well,
Amazing.
unbelievable. That
Yeah.
feeling when Tremlett got Beer out on that last ball,
Yeah.
you just remember. I don't think satisfaction is the right word, but you don't get satisfied in sport, do you? Because there's always another challenge.
Yeah,
But actually, for
yeah.
that moment, when you sat there as a team, you just like everything. Because even though we were going to win that game, they still wake up in the morning, you're still thinking, God, they could. And just absolute relief. And you sat in the change room. I remember Jimmy couldn't speak because he was really unwell. He was just knackered, like 5 games. And just everyone just looked around. Everyone was just like, the weight of the world was off your shoulder, just for that very small period of time where you've actually achieved something special. And
What was if I could replay one moment for you of your entire career, what would you choose?
it would be that moment.
Yeah.
It'd be that, probably give me that morning. It was quite a long morning, because actually they batted for a little bit of time, but just knowing we'd achieved something which will always be spoken about. You know, Beefy's 81 Ashes, like I was actually with him the other day, and that was spoken about. And not that the 10-11's in that kind of thing, but that actually is a period. But always remember that side who won it, and I think that's very special.
Was it more relief than sort of?
Yeah, like that. Well, it was ecstasy for that first bit.
Yeah.
That when we got the wicket and you're around, you do all the cuddling, all that kind of stuff. Then when you get in the change room and it's quiet, you literally just go and you just sit there, and it's not loud. It's loud. It gets louder as more alcohol gets involved. But for that first half an hour, once all the stuff, you just sit there and it's just
Brilliant.
and you just don't get. And we all watch white ball cricket. I really enjoy it, but in terms of emotional investment in a test match or the red ball, that effort, it's just you cannot replicate it. You cannot replicate it.
Absolutely spot on. Last two, Piers. Can only choose one. Ronaldo or our late great pal Shane Warne.
For what?
Either.
Well, if it's a night out, Warne. in terms of sporting greatness.
Sports person.
Well, Warne to me I would say he's the greatest cricketer that's ever lived. And the reason I say that is I just felt, A, he was a master bowler, but B, the mental dominance he used to just have over people, the mental strength, the resilience, the character, the fun, the whole package with Warne. I could choose a batsman, I could choose an all-rounder, of course. But if you ask me actually, if I could have someone to win a game for my life, and that's why the parallel is quite interesting. If I could think of a footballer to score a goal on a wet Wednesday in Stoke to save my life, who would I choose? I'd choose Cristiano. And if it was to win a cricket match on any surface, it would be Shane Warne. And I think for those reasons, I wouldn't choose one over the other.
You have to.
Huh?
You have to. That's the question.
If I have to choose one over the other, I'm going Shane Warne.
Oof.
Over Ronaldo.
I love Ronaldo, but he would understand. Well, cricket is my first and biggest love. Football.
He watches this, does Cristiano?
Yeah.
Well, he will.
I hope so.
As long as I didn't say Messi, he'll be fine.
Right, last one. Thierry Henry or Kevin Pietersen?
Ooh. Well, they both brought me enormous pleasure. Kevin, the most exciting England batsman post-war, certainly the most exciting I've ever seen. I agree with you. I think Joe Root now has the claim to rightly be called the greatest we've ever produced, but KP was the most exciting. And Thierry Henry, it's interesting. I used to say Bergkamp was my favourite Arsenal player I've ever seen. And then Bergkamp turned up at an Arsenal game 2 years ago. And I was just about to tell him, Dennis, you're my... And I went, Dennis, like that. And I felt a tap on my shoulder and it was Thierry. and I went, you are one of my two favourite players ever. Absolutely brilliant. But Kevin's been a great... I know Thierry quite well. I actually saw him at the game at the weekend. And he was very friendly. He's a really nice guy. Kevin's a proper friend. And has actually been a really good mate of mine. One thing about Kevin that always stuck with me, when I asked him to play in my game, he got picked to captain England for the first time in a one-day international the day before. And he was going to be my big draw for that year, right? England's current star playing, so unusual. And he said, yeah, no problem. And then he captained England that day, and then the Sunday morning, 11 o'clock, with a 1 o'clock kick start, massive crowd come, all the villages heard Kevin Pietersen, the England captain's coming around. And he rings me and he says, I'm really sorry, mate. He said, Moores has found out and says I can't play, or Flower, whichever one was. He said, I can't play. Just can't take the risk, I'm England captain. I'm sorry to let you down, mate. I'm really, right. And I was absolutely gutted. I was like, how am I going to get out of this, right? And I was like, no, it's fine, mate. I totally understand. And then an hour and a half later, he turned up.
No, not really.
All a big wind-up. He turned up.
No.
He wore his England jumper. He went out. He played one of the best innings. It was just beautiful batting. He never slogged. He took them seriously. He respected the guys. He hit 150 and then he got himself out. The crowd gave him a standing ovation of it. And I just thought, that's a guy that I will always have respect for. He just kept his word. He didn't need to. He could have let me down. And I always take people as I find them. I've never met you. Now, we're going to be big bucks. But we never met each other. And I take everyone as I find them. I don't care what other people tell me about people. I don't care what their reputation... Nothing that doesn't matter. To me, it's like, what do you like when I meet you? And I've known you
Yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
Known you a very long time. Known you not as well as I would have liked, actually. I've been more of a fan from afar. But, yeah, I like cricket people. Cricket people, in my experience, are stand-up people. It's a great community.
Have you seen Kevin's latest tweet?
No.
That he said, I'm 45 now and regret having tattoos.
Well, he also regrets the skunk hairdo that he had. Do you remember that?
And
That's the one.
Jimmy had it.
Jimmy
Because
had
of course he played some of his best innings with the skunk on. And it's
Yeah.
like, but yeah, the cricket. You guys, the cricket world's a great world.
It is.
I think it's a brilliant, unique community. There's nothing quite like it anywhere really. And my favourite thing of the year, coming here,
Look at
or
it.
going to the Oval or some of the other grounds and watching a Test match and being with my mates or whoever. And it's the best thing.
So good. I know times are going on. You mentioned Beefy briefly.
Yeah.
So I worked forever with Beefy, and he wrote the column in the Mirror.
He did.
He did, but he didn't. He did. He used to.
Well, Crash Lander used to do it.
Crashlander, and
lovely
then
Crash.
Dean Wilson
Yeah.
would come in, and I've come to do the column. Write what you like, just fucking write what you like, and just go out.
So when I become editor of the Mirror, I get told you've got Ian Botham as one of your columnists. I was, this is my hero.
Yeah.
I was 16 in '81. This was literally my hero, right? So Nainish, the great Nainish Desai, one of my favourite people in the world, and Ian's long-suffering lawyer, and he said, "Piers, we want to take you out for dinner. Just get to know Ian." And I said, "Fantastic dinner with Ian, but this is going to be great." So they book a table at Bibendum in Chelsea, and I get there, and there are 3 of us, and 4 magnums of wine are open. They're not on the table. They've all been opened, right? I'm like, okay. So we get stuck in. 2:30. I'm hearing all the stories. We've gone through 81 every game. We're having a great time. And then I vaguely remember something at the end, agreeing something. Anyway, I go to bed, 3 o'clock. Wake up in the morning with a call from the managing director of the Daily Mirror. Piers, this is Roger Eastoe. What happened last night with Ian Botham? I went, immediately, you're like, Jesus, what did happen? Was I arrested? What went on? No memory. I said, I've just had his lawyer, Mr. Desai, on the phone. I said, yes. He said, you appear to have doubled his salary on a piece of napkin paper. I said, well, he was grotesquely underpaid, whatever we were giving him. So I think that's why Beef and I've got on ever since. Because for not writing his column, he got paid double.
Piers, thanks for coming. I'm going to leave you for one last thing. You're England captain.
Yep.
I know you'd like to have been. You probably think you should have been.
Dropping Alastair Cook.
So I've flown
never
you.
play again.
I've flown you over to Perth for this year's Ashes.
Yes.
Your final speech to the team is going to be what?
Final speech to the team is the one that Douglas Jardine said in an impromptu speech to an Australian fan who, in the middle of the Bodyline series, when Harold Larwood was peppering them in a way that Jofra and Mark Wood hopefully will pepper these Aussies this time, and the way Brett Lee peppered me, not that I've got any bitterness about it.
No.
And one of the fans shouted out at Jardine, "You won't win many friends playing like this, Mr. Jardine." To which Jardine, the old Harrovian, turned to him and said, "Oh, my dear fellow, I haven't come here to make friends. I've come here to win the Ashes." That's what my speech would be. Boys, don't worry about making friends. Just win the fucking Ashes. Bring that on home.
Thanks, Piers. Thank you.
Oh, very good.
Thank you.
Cheers, boys.
Well done.
Great fun.
Brilliant.
Really good fun. Cheers, Cookie.
Nice.
Through to me, finally.